So thank you so much to all the ladies who are returning and to the new ones that are just arriving. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to briefly go over, not entirely, but I'm just going to briefly remind you all of what we were looking at last time we saw each other. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you all. So I'm going to move my chat over to the side, and then I'm just going to go here. And I'm going to present this real quick so you all can see like the big screen. Okay, so for those of you that were not here last time, I work underneath LEAF, which stands for As Gladly or As Happily. And it stands for Living in Emotional Freedom, or Live in Emotional Freedom. And that's truly what we're going to see today. Today, I'm really excited about today. Hi, Nancy. Uh, I'm really excited about today because we're actually going to get to feel this freedom, to feel this liberation of like, oh my gosh, all the things that I thought were real are not. What a freaking relief. Oh my gosh. So that's my intention for you all today, to feel liberated, to feel more like you, to feel more like you can breathe and you can be. All right. So that's just a little quick thing. Really quick, for those of you that do not know who I am, my name is obviously right there on the screen. My name is Anna Jones, and I was born and raised in a small town in Mexico named Tampico, just like the juice. And I grew up on the beach. So started off as a health coach in 2012 and really started digging in, really started going like all detective mole on life and why people weren't sticking to like not only the diets, but I was creating a new lifestyle for them. And slowly I began to realize that it was because they didn't feel that they were worthy of it. And that just took me on a whole different spiral, and it just opened me up to a world that I didn't even know existed. So after that, I just started getting certified of like everything that I could find: spiritual, scientific, emotional, psychological, neurological, all of that good stuff. So I was certified, if anybody knows what Reiki is, Diksha, all of the healing, energetic stuff. I got certified to be a yoga teacher, meditation teacher. And then just recently, I'm not going to go through all of my certifications because there are a lot, but like the most important ones, the last training I did was with Mark Woolen. And he wrote the book, It Didn't Start With You, which is his whole practice right now. He's been doing this for decades. And he was just like, okay, there is something here, and there's so much science behind that, right? For all of you that are like, oh well, maybe this is a little woo woo, maybe this is a little crazy. No, if you're constantly looking for something to be validated outside of yourself, yes, there are journals out there. There are a lot of studies, especially from the Jewish community, from the Holocaust survivors, how their children, how their generations, the future ones, have inherited the trauma of being in concentration camps, of the death, of how it happened, of everything that they endured. So that's something really interesting. If you want to look into it after, definitely reach out to me and I can send you some links, or you can just go on Google, and you can't go wrong on that stuff, right? So then that's where I got really interested in just the the concept of healing, because I'm always asking, like what are we here for? What am I here for? What is my purpose? What am I here to teach people? What am I here to do? And I already knew that I have a voice, that I know how to get people's attention, because really have a genuine care for others. But I wanted it to be substantial, and I wanted it to be something that they could feel, right? Not only that I could tell them about it, but I wanted them to experience it. And that's when I came across this work. And if you've heard of family constellations, that's also something along this line. I just do it in person, but, or excuse me, one on one. But if you want to think of family constellations, of constellations per se, all of us here, even though we are virtually here, we share something in common. We have something in common, and you'll see that in a few moments. So bear with me on that concept. So basically, what we're going to do today is we're going to apply the heal to feel method, right? We're going to learn how we can start working through our trauma to come back home, whatever that means to us, right? Whatever we think we lost along the way when we were younger, right? Maybe we had a spark in our eyes and we were excited about things, and now we're cranky ass adults and we think life sucks and we don't want to do anything. Oh, COVID stole my dreams, and we're always blaming it on other people, on circumstances. Today is the day where you get your freedom back if you ever feel like you lost it. Okay. So this is basically what we did last time. If you weren't here, we're going to do it again. I love to start my my workshops, my clients, coaching calls, everything, one-on-ones with a lot of people, by grounding and centering our energy. So go ahead and just take a seat wherever you are. And we're just going to breathe for a few moments. That's all we're going to do. You have the option of closing down your eyes. And you're just going to relax your face, your jaw, your cheeks, your teeth. Let your shoulders drop down. If you're hunching over, just try to have that natural curve in the spine that makes us think that we're straight. And let the palms rest on your thighs that can be flipped up or down, whatever you choose. And today, all you're going to do is say thank you mentally or out loud. No one can hear you, at least on this end. You're just going to be grateful for being here another day. Sometimes we think that times get tough and there's no way out, but you're never alone. So I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you decided to wake up one more day and join this journey called life. A journey that is fascinating and mysterious, unlike anything else we've ever experienced. So thank yourself for being here, for showing up. Thank you for the air we can breathe. Thank you for our eyes, our mouths, our ears, our nose. Thank you for all the functioning organs in our body. Thank you for our hearts. Thank you for my heart. Thank you for your heart. All of the body from head to toe. And you have the choice of placing both palms on the center of your chest if that feels good. So you can feel how, without any instructions, your heart beats. You don't have to do a single thing. As long as it beats, you live. And taking the time to acknowledge anything else that you are thankful for in this moment. And if you place your palms on your heart, gently soften them down. And when you're ready, Begin to flicker the eyes open gently, softly, and come back. All right. Welcome back. So that really helps to settle the energy. And I don't know if you've noticed a change in my voice as well, right? I got here and I was really excited and I was pumped up and everything. But that meditation, that breathing exercise, if meditation is a word that triggers you, it's totally okay. That breathing exercise before you have an important discussion with someone, right? Whether it's business, relationships, personal, professional, have a moment to really just set out the intention, right? May all of this, may the conversation be the best outcome for all parties involved. And that's what I always ask, right? That everyone in this workshop, whether they know it or not, get the best outcome for them. So this is something that you can do on your own. You can come back to this video and do it again. And really quick, what generational trauma is, it's the experiences, the traumas, and the beliefs that we've inherited from those that came before us. I don't know if I said this last time I was on here, but there's this, tale that they said that people used to come up to Freud, the therapist, the psychologist, and they were like, how can I not screw up my kids? And he said, it's impossible. It's impossible. Everybody's going to be, screwed up, quote unquote, because we're constantly trying to compensate for what we didn't get when we were children. And sometimes that ends up being a sort of hindrance towards the future generations, right? Because we give them more or we give them less. And so that really just what is given to us is given to us, right? We can't change that. But what we can start to hold ourselves responsible for is our healing, is this moment that we are here for, and to stop blaming everything on everyone else and start placing more awareness, more attention on us. So I talked last time a little bit about how to spot inherited generational trauma. And these experiences will show up very, very obvious, right? Like repetitive patterns, sabotaging, scarcity mentality or scarcity mindset, right? The repetitive patterns. I don't really like to use the word negatives and positives, but I use it for the sake of, just because that's what people understand in our language. So I try not to, but I have to sometimes. So, that victim mentality, it's like, why does this always happen to me? It's like, well, it didn't just happen to you, right? You weren't just like at home laying down and then all of a sudden horrible things started happening to you. It's what we're constantly thinking of. If we're living in fear, anxiety, and stress all the time, that is the frequency that we send out, right? Some like, how dolphins communicate through frequencies? Same thing with humans, right? But we are communicating with something much grand than we know. Some people call it God, some people call it infinite intelligence, the quantum field. Like, you can go as scientific as you want. Some people call it the universe. It depends on what it is you believe. But bless you, but every single person knows that there is a field out there. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's just knowing that in order to get the life that you want, you can't be vibrating down here and the life that you want is up here, right? You have to make that leap. And how you're going to make that leap is what we're going to talk about today. So very exciting. Sabotaging. I can tell you that we all do this all the time. When you say you want a relationship and then you're in this beautiful relationship with an amazing person that you love and is great and this and that, but you're finding things. No, I don't like this. No, 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 no. Maybe there's someone out there who can really do what I want them to do, right? We're sabotaging our happiness. Why? Because we don't think we're worthy of it. We don't think we deserve it. We don't think we're enough. Or sometimes we settle. And that's another way that we can sabotage our happiness. So it depends on the type of trauma that you've inherited, or it depends on the type of trauma that you've been through, right? That will determine whether you settle for just like, well, I guess this is love, and you're in an abusive relationship and you just stay there, whether it's physical, sexual, verbal, what psychological, whatever it is, or you are constantly running away. And mine was running away. I personally have ran away from so many relationships that it was until I finally caught myself and was like, okay, you need to change these patterns, because all the men that you've dated, even though the personalities are not the same, you don't want to commit to any of them. So it doesn't align with your end goal, which is to have a true partnership. So what does that look like? Scarcity mindset. There isn't enough money in the world for everyone to go around. So if Nancy is successful and she becomes a billionaire, that means I can't. Bullshit. That's not true. And yet we constantly keep thinking about these things, right? And I really want to just put it out there again and again and again. Like, watch your language. How do you speak to yourself? If you really want to buy an apple and that apple is $3, do you go, oh my gosh, that's so expensive? Or are you like, you know what? I want this apple and I'm going to buy it even if it's $3 because I'm worth it. Grab the apple, pay on. So that's something that might sound crazy to some of us. Oh my gosh, Anna, I can't. I have 3 kids, COVID, this and that. Start making those little changes from scarcity to abundance, and you'll see how life slowly begins to change. Not because, and it's not just because you said yes to the apple, it's because you said yes to yourself. Yes, I am deserving of buying something that's $3, and I will probably finish eating it in less than 10 minutes. So just little things like that can start shifting a lot of things in your life. These are the tools that I mentioned last time, right? Observe yourself, truly watch yourself. Imagine like you are in a movie theater and you're watching a movie, and that movie is your life. What does it look like? Does it look like something exciting, or are you like, "Oh my gosh, this is so depressing. Why did I come into this? Why did I come into this theater? I want to go to the exciting movie. Get me out of this theater," right? Paying attention to, again, the language that you use. How do you speak to yourself? What do you think of yourself? And how do you treat yourself? How you treat others, how you talk to others, what you think of others is just a reflection of what you think, how you feel, and how you treat yourself. So truly, when somebody says something horrible to you, when something does something horrible, horrendous, how could they? I can't believe them. What a bitch. I can't believe she did that. That's how she is or he is with themselves. That's how they are with themselves. Once we get that, and maybe you won't get it instantly after today. Maybe you'll get it for a day and then it won't come back until a month later, right? Sometimes that's just how life is. But keep reminding yourself that that's how they treat themselves. And then you can stop and say, oh, okay, this is how you are. This is how you speak to yourself. So you think it's okay to talk to me this way, but it's not. And that's when you have the time to reflect on this, right? You have the time to reflect, and you can always speak up and say, you know what? I really don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me. If you feel like communicating something to me, I would love to hear you out, but I I I cannot understand what you're trying to say when you're speaking in such a violent tone, right? I've had several conversations with strangers like this, and I found out why they were behaving the way that they were behaving. And even though one of the times I found out that this woman, her grandmother had passed away, I was like, Jesus, Anna, couldn't you have just like shut the hell up and kept going on your way, right? But if I hadn't approached her, she wouldn't have told me that. Of course, I ended up I was saying like, oh my gosh, my condolences. Don't even worry about it. Like, it's all good. Thank you so much for telling me. And she was so kind and so sweet. You'll be surprised. A lot of people are afraid of confronting. You don't have to confront people to speak your truth. You don't have to be confrontational, right? So that's something really, really important here. And then choosing to change, right? Choosing to change is the choice that you make every single moment. How am I going to react? Am I going to react to that trigger because it's taking me back to when I was 5 years old and I was looking up to my mom or my dad or my uncle or whoever raised me, and I wanted an ice cream cone and they were talking to the neighbor and they didn't pay attention to me. Like, that's trauma. Even though right now we're like, oh my God, I can't believe that that was so traumatic. As a child, to not be seen or heard is so traumatic. So don't think that it's not going to affect us, because it will. In reality, what we are, we're just little children. We're just little children, going around with our open wounds and just, trying to heal. That's what this constantly is about. I have these ridiculous fights with my boyfriend, and what usually I think it was me this last time. I was like, "You're so unkind," and he's like, "No, you're unkind." And I'm like, "You're the most unkind person I've ever met." And he's like, "Well, you're really unkind too." And then I was like, "This is so dumb. This is so dumb," right? It's not that he was unkind. It's not that I was unkind. It's just that in that moment, I didn't get what I wanted and he didn't get what he wanted. So we were just like, "No, you. And then, of course, the next day, it's like, "Oh my gosh, I was such an idiot. I'm so sorry." We apologize for that. But there is a way to minimize those bickering little arguments. And so here's the list of resources. If any of you need me to go back later, I can't see the chat right now because I'm sharing my screen, but Shelly or Brooke or someone I know will be able to help me out. And again, this PowerPoint, I can also send it to you if that's something that you're interested in. And just resources, be careful. Yes, the internet is your friend, but just make sure that who you're following is truly, truly resonating with who you are. And I always recommend, if you're ready to level up your life, if you're ready to step up your game, if you're like, "I have been living this way for so freaking long, I don't know which way to turn, left or right," it is time for you to start paying someone. You will only get up to a certain level until you actually pay someone. I know I've had to do it. I know a lot of my clients have had to do it. And I have a friend that has a saying, she's like, "There's transformation in the transaction," because the apple may be pricier, but it's still an investment in yourself. So that's just something that I can recommend. And usually when you go and make that investment, you'll find your people. You'll find the people that will help you level up and who will encourage you and who will help, like, kind of like fluff up your dreams and be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, here, let me fix your crown. Let me put this on. Let me do this for you. Hey, you know what? No, don't give up. Don't do this. Don't do that." They always lift you up instead of being like, "I told you you should have given up a long time ago. I told you you weren't going anywhere. Why would you even think that you could be a millionaire? Like, that's only for the 1%, blah, 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 blah. The Democrats are now in and they're going to steal all of our taxes and blah, blah, blah. All this, blah, right? So all this junk. And I'm just going to go ahead and share these quotes again, because I feel like even if you were here 2 weeks ago, this is just always useful. "If you don't heal from what hurt you, you'll bleed on those who didn't cut you." When somebody is in such pain, when somebody is living through their trauma, this is when they bleed on human beings. So sexual assaults, people who are stealing, killing, drug dealing, everything from that low frequency, from really like, "You won't be able to be anything else but this" mentality. They are just like, "This is it. This is my life. So this is what I have to do." And their trauma is so big that they can't deal with them with it on their own. So they have to pass it to someone else, even if it means killing them, even if it means assaulting them, whatever that means. And so this is the worst form of survival mode, if you want or even care to have any compassion for people that are, incarcerated. Who is exempt from trauma? No one. No single person is exempt from trauma. So, this already, if you think you're alone, you are never alone. We all have trauma, even me. That's why I'm in this field. I'm not in this field because I'm exempt from trauma and I've got it all figured out. No, I have spent decades, so many years of working through this stuff, that this is why I chose to do this workshop, because I want all of you to get all this information from years that I've accumulated. I don't want you to waste any time. I want you to live your most beautiful lives because it can be done. And so, how to heal, right? This is what we're going to do today. And um, I I want to honor the time. I'm looking at the time, and because we started a little bit late, I'm gonna just go briefly over this. In order to heal generational trauma, you have to find out what your trauma is, right? I'll share with you mine a little bit, just the short list, because the long list we could be here forever. Short list: sabotaging, fear of abandonment, unworthiness. I think that that's all across the board, right? I think we all go through that. I have never met one person that has said that is aware of it, right? And they're like, I'm exempt from it. These are just some of the few things that I have experienced. So if you were abandoned by and this is deep stuff, right? This is very, very deep stuff. So if you need to take a break, please take a break. If you were emotionally orphaned, that's a phrase, right? You were abandoned by your mother, your father when you were a child. That is traumatic. I don't care if you're like, oh, I don't care about that. Oh, that doesn't matter to me. Oh, my mom and I don't talk anymore. So that really doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can wish for your mother or your father to die or to disappear from your life. The trauma is still going to be there if you don't heal it. I'm looking here at the, okay, I'm looking at the chat real quick because we've got some questions. Okay, perfect. I can see it now. So choosing your method of healing, right? This can be, you can start anywhere you want, anywhere you want. Okay. So meditation, right? Some people are like, oh, I can never keep my mind quiet, or it's so challenging for me. We talked about this briefly last time. Meditation can be gardening. If you live by the ocean, it can be walking right on the shore by the sea. If you're surrounded by nature, go on the trail, right? Look at the trees, sit for a moment on the grass. I love to hug trees. I'm one of those people that the older I get, the less fucks I give. So really, like, people are just walking around and I'm there, I'm hugging the tree and I'm just feeling all that grounding energy because I thrive more when I'm grounded. And if you are the same, I highly recommend you do that as well. And then, of course, you can go as deep into it as you want. So I do a lot of energy stuff, and I also work with a coach, right? So I have the spiritual, like the kind of like the heavens and also the earth. I like to have both realms connected because we are both, right? We're spiritual beings having a human physical experience. And that will help you to move towards what you want. It Once you start peeling away all of those beliefs, like money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work hard to get money. Like, this is what I believe somebody here was asking. KE, can scarcity mindset apply to emotional currency? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Any sort of currency, emotional, physical, psychological, monetary, anything, right? That applies to scarcity. And you can start to create your own reality because we talked about the bran muffin last time, right? That nasty ass brown muffin or bran muffin that your dietitian or somebody told you, like, yeah, you need to eat bran muffins instead of doing the X, Y, and Z. Well, guess what? Sometimes those bran muffins don't taste that good. If you find a really good bran muffin, cool. Have it once in a while. But I like to tell people, I like to taste, and I like to really just, you have my frosting with sprinkles. Like, that's how I want my life to be. I don't want it to be boring. I want it to be exciting. And that depends on what exciting is to me, right? So that's kind of what I want to lead you all today. Jeanette from Facebook. After marrying two wrong husbands, I have learned a lot. I am smarter and wise now. Yes, yes, Jeanette. And you know what? It wasn't wrong. It was right at the time, because otherwise you wouldn't have learned what you did. And that's another thing. I think as women, we're very hard on ourselves. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, maybe I could have done this. It's like, whatever. Forgive yourself and move on, because life doesn't stop for your self tormenting and torturing and badgering. Life is like, come on, hurry up, hurry up. Let's go, because there's more waiting for you on the other end. Okay. So, okay, I think that's it. And okay, so this is the exciting part that I wanted to share with you all. And how about we do some healing right here, right now? And I know this group is smaller this time, but I was thinking about bringing someone off their mic and just have them heal their biggest, most Godzilla monster fear that they have. Before anyone starts typing yes or this or that, you have to know that you're on video, you were recorded. Imagine the whole world is going to see this. So you have to be open and vulnerable enough to step up and say, hey, I want to do this. Because when you step up, every single person that watches this video is also going to heal. I'm going to heal, you're going to heal, and so is everyone else. So do I have anyone, any brave, courageous soul that's like, you know what? I'm ready to start living my best life. I'm ready to just stop sabotaging. I'm ready to expose the hell out of this fear that I have. Because guess what? When you expose it, everyone in here is going to be like, oh shit, that's me too. So don't worry if you are like, no, and you have to be on Zoom, because otherwise I can't interact with you. But does anybody feel courageous enough to heal in front of the whole world? No pressure. And if you don't want to type, you can always just come off your mic. No one. Hi, ladies. All right. Good thing I have a backup plan. All right. So before we go, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the exercise, and then I'll go into questions, and we'll do something. We'll do it very briefly, just because I won't have to go into that much detail. So go ahead. We're going to go again and just settle in. So a lot of you I see are seated. So find a comfortable, like nesting little position. And I'm going to go with sabotaging, just because it feels right. So we all have a fear of sabotage, or a thought of sabotaging. We all have this fear of doing the wrong thing, quote unquote. So go ahead and close your eyes. It's really important for you to close your eyes here. And if there's a situation about PTSD or something else, then adjust your eyes. Don't close them. Just take your gaze down. And just come into your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And I want you to say either out loud or mentally, I am afraid of being worthy. I am afraid of being enough. I am afraid of being deserving. And I want you to see who comes to mind. There should be someone appearing in your mind's eye. It can be someone you know, it can be someone you don't know. When you say these words, this is who this trauma belongs to. So in my mind, I'll share with you, and you can keep your eyes closed. I see my maternal grandmother. I see my paternal grandmother. And you can see so many people come up, but these are the immediate ones, the closest ones to you, perhaps. And so because this is a recurring thought, a recurring trauma that many of us have, it's time that we address it and release it forever. And you can personalize it as much as you'd like. I'm just going to give you a general script. Thank you so much for showing up. You can say this to the person that's showing up to you. Thank you so much for everything that I've learned from you, whether I know it or not, whether we have or had a good relationship or not. I love you so much. Even if there is resistance coming from me, I know that my heart is filled with love for you and anyone and everyone that came before me. Because if it wasn't for you, I would not be here. I would not be who I am. I would not have the amazing qualities that I have. I'm smart, beautiful, courageous, loving, and so, so kind. Yet this belief that I am unworthy, this belief that I am undeserving, that I am not enough, is blocking me from living my most beautiful life. So I ask that today you take this belief with you, because it is not mine. It does not belong to me. It belongs to you. And you've had your turn. Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn to live my most beautiful life. And take a few moments to really locate where you are feeling the sensation in your body. If it's in your upper chest, in your back, in your shoulders, and think of unraveling, of peeling away all the sensation from wherever it is that you're feeling and gifting it back to this person. You can put it in a gift box. You can put it in a bag. You can just blow it away like magic dust, whatever feels best to you. And then you thank them once again for being here, open to taking back what is theirs. Taking a few deep breaths and exhale through the mouth if you need to. If you need to kind of shake it out, you can shake it out too. And before you open your eyes, declare your worthiness. Declare that from this day on, anytime you catch yourself sabotaging, you will know it. Ask your subconscious to warn you, to alert you anytime you try to self-sabotage your happiness, your journey to your most amazing life. Declaring that you are deserving, that you are enough, and that you can have anything you want. And so it is. Take a deep breath in. And begin to flicker the eyes open. And come back. So that was a very broad and kind of like suitable for everyone type of healing meditation. Obviously, if somebody would have come forward, usually we'll be dealing with grandma or grandpa or whoever shows up, and we address them by their name. We go really a lot more into detail than we did now, but this is something that is very safe. And a lot of the times, the person that we're visualizing will resist. So we have to find a way, right, to really talk to them and make them understand that we don't want to carry this burden. And I've never had a session where eventually someone didn't take back what was theirs. So it's a very beautiful modality. It's a very beautiful way of healing. Yes, KE, fascinated to find that my future self showed up. That's awesome. That's beautiful. And this type of a modality, it's so unique to everyone, right? It's an experience that everyone will have differently, even though the feeling and the emotion is the same, because our lenses are different, right? Our filters are different. Our upbringings were different. Our traumas, even though they are the same, they look different. So, any questions about that? Anybody feel like sharing in the chat? Louise, okay, we can talk about that a little bit more. Louise said, no one showed up. So sometimes that's when we're not fully, in the grounded, or there's something distracting us, or we're trying to like really see something, but it's immediately the first person that shows up. We don't have to imagine anything. We don't have to create anything. And sometimes we can just kind of figure it out, but that's something that we would have to do more like one-on-one. So thank you, Louise, for sharing that. Anyone else? A few people came to mind. That's good, Suzanne. Yeah, usually it's never just one person. It can be, remember, we are affected, for lack of a better word, 7 generations prior to us, and we will affect 7 generations after us. So the fact that you're here, all of you, even if you don't have children, you will create a ripple effect in nephews, nieces, brothers, sisters. If you're an only child, parents, aunts, uncles. We're all connected, all connected. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to skip to basically like the information where you can reach out to me. Very easy. My email address, my website, and social media. I'm mostly active on Instagram. That's where I uh, post the meditations. I'm talking about this stuff all the time. It just looks differently for on social media, just because I'm not talking about generational trauma as like verbatim all the time, but it shows up in very simple ways, like I have trouble focusing, or I'm not good at setting goals, or X, Y, and Z, right? All of those things, like where do they come from? Where do they stem from? Right? When I was in 6th grade and my teacher told me, oh, you can't do anything right, or whatever, right? And those times where teachers could just be assholes and there were no repercussions. So all that stuff affects us. Okay. And again, if you need to see this a little bit more, you can always come back to it. I know that if you go back to the video, it'll be here. This, again, another quote: if you don't deal with your trauma will deal with you. So I want to remind everyone that we cannot escape our trauma. Our trauma is part of who we are, right? Yeah, Veronica, thank you so much. Have a great day. So truly, 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 life is always like it truly is a journey. And I want people to understand that it's not about getting to the goals. It's about how much are you unraveling on your way to your goals? How many layers of crap, of non-serving trauma are you still holding on to? And you have so many places that you want to go to, right? Are you constantly reacting versus showing up as your compassionate, authentic self? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about, my authentic self and blah, blah. I don't like the word authentic. Okay, pick another word. Raw and real is also super trendy. Like you can't find a word that's not trendy right now that's like, but really, 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 that this is the invitation to never to think that you're done. There's never going to be a point in your life where you're done until you die, right? And even then, who knows what happens? We have only theories of what happens. So be open to showing up. And I'm changing the word doing the work to realigning. Be open to realign yourself all the time, just like the tires of a car. You're not going to get into a car that has the tires like this, right? Because this is the only way you're going to be able to go. You need to go get them realigned every now and again. So that's the same thing that you have to do with yourself, with your mind, with your body, with your spirit, whatever that means to you. And I'll open the floor again for any questions, any comments, any concerns. Sharonda, I truly, 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 truly don't know if we will ever be 100% healed, because this is an ongoing process and it all depends on us as individually, how we handle it. You'll know that what I'm saying, let me rephrase that. What I'm saying is you may be healed from one thing, but maybe not from everything. And once you think you're healed from one thing, sometimes it just another thing pops up and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought I was done with this. I thought I had it already healed." And it just shows up. So the way I see it is we're always being tested, right? So for me, like the sabotaging, let's say, and I can use myself an example because that's all I know right here, right now, right? So let's say that I get an opportunity to work in, I don't know, like Bali, which is one of my dream spots for this year. Um, and uh I'm like, no, I start making excuses like, oh no, it's too far away from my family. How am I going to live there? How am I going to do this? And I am not trusting the process of, you know what, I've always wanted to go to Bali. Like, what the heck am I waiting for? So it depends on the choices that I start to make. If somebody is rude to me and then I'm back and I'm like rude to them, I know that I haven't healed from that yet. Right. I know that there is still that trigger of like, dang, I shouldn't have responded with a reaction. I should have responded with something that comes from who I truly am, which we truly are just a little bundle of love. But life, right? Life has taken this bundle of love and just like through puddles of mud and clay and dirt and all these things, and now we're just kind of like, oh look, here's this little beautiful shiny spot. So yeah, that's what I can say for now. Thank you, Shelley. Pleasure.